I asked for a couple of different things for Christmas, and I asked my husband for Maison Tahite, I think that's how you pronounce it, for their cacao sampler set. Now, very unfortunately, the UK managed to Brexit itself out of being able to get things delivered from Europe. So there's some stuff you can get delivered. There's a lot of sites now that won't deliver to to the UK. And so Nick, when he couldn't get what he wanted, he went and found a website that is called, if you can see, it's actually on here, Crown. Oh, there's a little crown symbol. The Perfumed Court, that's what it's called. And he got me a little sampler set that had chocolate perfumes with a chocolate note. So, I mean, I would say this website, if you want to go and get any samples from it, make sure you use the actual proper website. Because if you use the mobile site, to be honest, it's a bit of a mess. It's hard to navigate. Because what my husband would have realised if he'd probably been on the non-mobile site is that they do actually offer a Maison Tahiti cacao sampler set. And it's from America, but you can get it delivered to the UK. So, yeah, I wouldn't have realised that if I didn't have to kind of go onto the actual website to even find this. But I imagine he did a little search. So he wasn't too happy that they just turned up in this thing looking a bit basic. But I think this was £23, something like that. And then I imagine he had to pay quite a lot to get it shipped. So I think he was hoping it would come in something a bit more attractive than this little box and this fluffy stuff. But it came here in one piece, so that's not too bad. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a couple of different vids for this sample set. I'm just going to talk about 4 to start off with. So I am going to start with one of the ones I asked for, which, if I can find it, yes. So this is Maison Tahiti. This is Cacao 2, or Cacao Squared, I assume is how you're supposed to say it. So Cacao Squared, I think it's supposed to be incredibly chocolatey. I've got a little bit on my hand right now. It's definitely chocolatey. But I would say this one, it has quite a sort of classically vintage smelling perfuminess about this that I think doesn't really smell gourmand. So the notes in this, top notes, cinnamon, middle notes, labdanum, base notes, cacao, vanilla, vetiver, cedar, amber and benzoin. And the votes on it have cacao at the top, vanilla, cinnamon, then vetiver, cedar, labdanum, and then the benzoin and the amber at the bottom. I can definitely smell the cacao in this, definitely. But I don't know, I feel like maybe the cedar, the vetiver and the labdanum are just giving this quite an old school perfumey vibe. I mean, it's interesting to smell it, but this is definitely not one that I would want to wear. This is definitely... It's interesting. I'm wondering if this is their most chocolatey perfume. I'm wondering if it's, if I just wouldn't like this collection, just generally. I will at some point try to get the samples of the rest of the cacao collection from Maison Tahiti, just because I'm quite interested in them, But yeah, this is not one that I would want to buy. And then I'm just going to skip real quickly to one that is an absolute disaster for me, anyway. Which one is it here? Nope, this one. So Tabac Rose by BDK. These do get caught, I'm afraid, in this little stuff. So this is, there you go. It's BDK Tabac Rose. So I was already looking at the notes of this and I was like, I don't know. But it doesn't really matter how I would feel about it in any way, because it's got that horrific tar smelling wood in it. It smells like there's something in there. And it doesn't actually list any wood, but it smells like a Zara perfume. It's got that tar smell in it that I can't bear. So The notes here are top notes of plum, pink pepper, Italian lemon, middle notes Turkish rose, chocolate and cinnamon, base notes tobacco, Indonesian patchouli leaf and Spanish labdanum. I'm not sure I'm particularly keen on labdanum just generally, to be honest, so when it's mixed with patchouli and pink pepper, it's a bit of a disaster, to be honest. But the votes on this say rose at the top, tobacco, chocolate, plum, patchouli, cinnamon, then labdanum, pink pepper and lemon. Yeah, I'm not really getting much lemon. It really reminds me of, especially at first, it really reminded me of, is it Rose Gourmand? But like nowhere near as sweet or cloying. So it's kind of smells more refined, but yeah, it's got that tar smell in it that I can't stand. So that, that's definitely not one for me. Not that I'd not really pay BDK prices for perfumes anyway. So then, what have we got? Oh, this guy. So, Anima. So this is Arquiste, Artist. Oh gosh, I'm not going to get this right, am I? Arquiste, Anima Dulcis. Me and other languages, an absolute disaster. So, this one. There's something kind of magical about this. But it's very... Also smells very perfumey, like real classic perfumey smells. So, the notes in this one are cacao, paprika, vanilla and cinnamon. And you do get all of those things. And the dry down smells like a proper old school perfume to me. But you can get a sense of those notes, and it's particularly nice when I first put it on my skin. It was like, oh, that's pretty, and then it went through a couple of phases that were weird. So I put it on my skin. I was like, oh, that's so pretty, and then it started to dry down, and it started to smell like pee, and I was like, that's weird. Okay, fine. And then the more it dried down, it started to smell like body odour, like really weird smell. And then that went away, and now it's just a kind of chocolatey, slightly spicy, very delicately sweet, old-fashioned perfume. That's what that smells like. It has that kind of, they used to make this in the 20s vibe about it for some reason, this one as well, which is exactly how I feel about the cacao squared. And then let's see the next one, L'Artisan Parfumeur, Piment Brulant. So that is this one here. Okay, so this little guy. All right, so they were really going for something with this, and they absolutely nailed it. So this is chili pepper, poppy, dark chocolate, cacao, clove, cinnamon, vanilla, amber, musk. Weirdly, I can sense that poppy a lot, but what I sense above all else is chili pepper, and it is... I don't know if you've ever had the piquant little peppers, the little tiny ones that you get in a kind of a vinegary, oily, syrupy kind of stuff, So they're pepper peppers, that's what I'm trying to say. This smells like pepper peppers, poppies and a bit of sweetness. So I don't really get much chocolate from this. I feel like the chocolate is probably helping it to kind of sweeten up a bit, but mainly I think it smells like pepper peppers. But like if you imagine pepper in a kind of sweet, rather than like a savoury meal, like in a sweet meal. But yeah, so I mean, this is another one. This is quite a statement, this perfume, if you wear it, I think. It's interesting, but it's definitely not one that I would want to smell like, but it's the most interesting out of these four by like a long way. I think the Anima Dulcis is kind of the prettiest one in the dry down. The BDK one, I can't even bear it. I'm very sad that it's on my skin because of that tar smell, but I can imagine if you don't get that tar smell, that's a pretty perfume. Rose and tobacco, you know, totally pretty. But yeah, I think I don't like the Cacao Squared very much, which is the one that I was sure I was going to like. So that is, again, why it's always good to get testers of more expensive perfumes, you know. So yeah, so that's those 4. And I will, at some point, come back and do the other 4 when I've got some skin.